these young kids, these youngers are so lazy. These are on their phone all the time. You know, when I was their age, I had a truck, I had a home, I had a whole family for myself. All these young kids on the block, lazy bums. Okay? It's not like they have exuberantly high inflation that they're dealing with, plus a stupid nepotistic corporate world, plus all the stupid other shenanigans that us boomers, created. It's not like they have to pay off a mortgage for 30 years. It's not like, back in our days, we'd work for 1 year and we could just buy a home.
Oh, if you're under 30 years old, you probably resonate with that, and you've probably heard it from some old fart in your family or one of your friends being like, oh, Gen Z's an absolute failure, right? You hear that a lot. If you were born in the 90s, early 2000s, welcome. Welcome to the Gen Z familia. I'm very bullish on Gen Z. I think we're incredibly smart. We're very much so in tune, and we just take less shit from the system. And chances are you're down bad right now. It's not looking good in terms of the economy in general for a lot of people. You have nurses living in their vans because this is a nurse with a full-time job living in her van because cost of living's so damn high. And this is in the prairies in Canada, in the middle of nowhere. Sorry, let me just make sure I'm on my screen. Yep. Look, you have students living in their tents. The protests in early September this year made news. 25 international students had been living in tents because they could not afford the high cost of the tuition, which is around 14 grand, in addition to housing costs. Housing costs is way more than 700 to 1600. It's like, if you wanted to get a toilet 1 bedroom in somewhere that's not in the middle of nowhere near a school, you're going to be paying $1,500 for that room, unless you're in a dusty, illegal, grungy, moldy basement apartment. It's getting out of control. And so we're going to react to this video by this lady right here. I think this is from TikTok. And it says, why Gen Z and millennials don't want to work anymore. Okay. And I think she just makes a really good point. And we're just going to go through this and react and kind of then talk about, well, what's the solution and what's the way out for Gen Z in a world where everything's gotten so expensive and you are working 60-hour weeks, 40, 60, 80-hour weeks just to exist. Just to exist. Let's get into it.
I don't want to work anymore. And now everyone who's not going to watch the full video can go comment about how lazy I am, how lazy my generation is, and how we just don't want to work anymore. And now for those that are still here, I will explain what we mean by that. I do want to work. If I didn't work, I think I would honestly probably get so bored that I would just want to off myself. Like, most of us want to work. It helps give you purpose. It helps give you something to do. Hopefully you do something you're passionate about. Luckily for me, I do something I'm passionate about. So I genuinely like my job. But the problem is the purpose of a job is supposed to pay for you to be able to afford to live. And that's just not the case anymore. People in my generation who went to college, who did everything they were supposed to do, worked hard in school, went to a good college, graduated with their degree, yada yada, got their first job, and they can't afford to live.
Oh, yeah, it's so sad. I think I was lucky in 2015 when I went to uni. I kind of had like a Neo in the Matrix moment where I realized this isn't going to get me paid. This is a waste of time, and I'm not going to like go down the black hole of debt. And I cut my losses quick. I didn't even get into 5 figures of student debt. Thank God. It's only like a couple $1,000s left. But I know many guys who went all the way, and I don't know a single one of them who've been like happy about it. All of them have been either swapping degrees, swapping. The only guys who made decent decisions were the trade school boys. But even then, they complained to me about how effed some of the blue collar jobs here are in Canada with like the politics and workplace politics and BS corporate life. So yeah, crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. You get a degree, and one, it's not even competitive how it used to be where the degree could get you more opportunities. It really doesn't really do that much anymore. And then you're working as a barista after spending 5 years in school. You're working a job that you could have worked in high school, straight out of high school, even out of 8th grade, 9th grade. And now you have 20, 30, 40, 50K in debt. and you have a big ego too. So like you're working at this barista shop and you're mad about it. And I don't blame you, because you spent all these years sacrificing and struggling only for what? Now to just be in a worse position? It's crazy.
And we're working 40 to 60 hours a week, like on average, and we cannot afford to live. Like, we just do not make enough to pay rent, to pay for food. Everything is so expensive right now, and wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. So we are working full time, giving up a huge portion of our lives to work, and we can't even afford to live. That is why
Yeah, that's why we're not procreating and having families. Like, there's a case to be made about like internet pornography and like the hypersexualization of society. But if you think about it, like a lot of that too is because like we don't have time for nothing anymore. You look at Japan, and Japan has more old people than they do have young people. And people will be like, oh, it's the anime culture. Oh, it's the kawaii culture. Oh, it's all the hentai. But the reality is they have such a crazy work culture there. No one has time for anything. It's just work, 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 do drugs and numb yourself and to forget about your problems and rinse, repeat until you're gone. That's why things have gotten so out of hand, expensive. It pisses me off when boomers judge us, because it's like when they grew up, one of my neighbors in a small town in the middle of nowhere in Canada, one of my neighbors down the street, okay, I think he's approaching his late 70s now. When he was growing up, in just 1 year of work at a shitty factory job, he could buy a truck, he could have down payment for a home, and literally clear like a lot of the home's down payment. He said he didn't know what to do. He was doing so well back then. He didn't know what to do with the money. At a run-of-the-mill, like mind-numbingly bad job, right? Let alone the people who got to the big city and went after like, you know, the higher education stuff, or went after the higher opportunities. They were laughing. People in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, even up to the 2010s, the boomers, they had it so damn good. They had it so damn good. And now it's like, now when we start off just making our money, it's like we don't even have enough money to save. We don't even have, like, we can't even get a down payment for a home. And if we do, we're going to be a debt to the bankers for the rest of our lives. It's miserable.
Generation is frustrated. That is why we don't want to work anymore, because we work really hard and we still can't afford to even get by. So like, what's the point? We can't afford to save. Yeah. We can't afford to buy things we want. Exactly. We can't afford to go out and do fun things. We can barely afford to pay our rent and buy food. A lot of us have like 2 or 3 jobs, or like work a full-time job and have several side hustles. That is the case for me. And then older generations just look at us and they're like, you're not working hard enough. This is your fault. Like, you're not working hard enough. That's why you can't get... The reason we can't get by is because the cost of living since the 90s has gone up 67%, while the wages have only gone up 8%.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think it's even higher. I think those numbers are probably even padded down. I think like expenses have 10x'd, while your earning income has only gone up like 20%. So your buying power has been murdered. And I think what's happening now is people are finally waking up and realizing that cash is trash. The system's broken. It doesn't work. It only helps a small few and makes all of us more poor. And now we're seeing the very real consequences of a crappy monetary system. Like, look how bad it's become. It's gotten absolutely out of hand. And yeah, I agree. It's not something you can outwork. It's not something that you can outwork with muscle and time and like energy. It's something you have to outsmart. Okay? And we're gonna get into that when this lady is done talking. But I don't want this to just be doom and gloom for you guys watching. I want you to actually be able to take this and do something with it.
18%. So wages have not kept up with the cost of living. That is why we can't afford to live. Not because we're lazy, not because we don't work, not because we don't want to work anymore. That is why. That is all. We're also in extreme debt because everything is so much more expensive than it used to be. College is way more expensive than it used to be. Cars are way more expensive than they used to be. Oh my
God, cars have gotten crazy bad. Robberies on cars have also skyrocketed.
Housing, way more expensive than it used to be. And on top of all that, politicians and older generations are destroying our environment, not doing anything to protect it, so we don't even know that there'll be a habitable Earth when we're older to live in. So yeah, that makes us pretty pessimistic and nihilistic and not want to work.
Yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to that. Maybe not perfectly, but she brings up a lot of great points. Okay, she brings up a ton of great points there. So it's kind of like, what's kind of the takeaway from this video? Like, obviously, you know, we talk crypto here, but I think there's a growing number of Gen Zers that are going to be flooding into crypto this year, hands down, especially as crypto has recovered and will continue to do well throughout the end of the year. In the meantime, I don't know, the market could go in a billion directions, but these people have a problem, right? Gen Zers have a problem, and they're fed up. They don't want to go kiss the boot of some corporate fuck just to exist. You know, I woke up to that in 2015, and then in 2016, 17, I started working online before remote jobs were really even a word, before working at home was trendy. I got ahead of that curve way before Rona happened and everyone was at home and blah, blah, blah. So even working at home, like, a lot of remote jobs can still be very corporate 9 to 5 crap, you know, and still not pay very well. So don't think just because you're working at home means you're beating the system. It takes a bit more sophistication than that. But yeah, the way out, the way I see it personally, like, I'm 26, born 97, so I can relate very deeply. Like, I'm technically a Gen Zer, and the way I see it is that we need to outsmart the system, and we have to be in the vehicles that will help us the most. And I just think since so many Gen Zers are young, they don't really have anything to lose. They don't really give an F, and they're so nihilistic that they're going to start YOLOing into crypto. I mean, we're already seeing it, but when you think about it, like, girls like her, or boys or whatever, people like her, that's the perfect mindset to just be like, screw this, I'm dumping a bunch of savings into this stuff. Screw this, I'm taking out debt. Like, this generation has gotten so pissed off, and me included. I'm fed up too. I'm fucking annoyed of, like, what have the boomers done? What kind of world have they left for us? One where that's just crazily inflated, ton of just stupid shenanigans going on, and work culture that's soul sucking and makes you want to off yourself. So look, it's not a perfect generation. We're also, you know, we have our own flaws. I'm not blaming it all on the boomers. We have to take ownership of it and do something about it, and that's what we try to do here on the channel, taking control of our financial future. So I think the move for Gen Zers is to educate yourself on crypto, buy Bitcoin. Just buy and save in Bitcoin. Switch your savings account to Bitcoin. Don't hold cash. Cash is trash. It loses its buying power. Every 2 to 4 years, it loses like 30% of its buying power. So you're just going to become more broke if you hold cash. It's not, you know, it's what $1,000 could buy you in the 90s is not the same. It's not. It's like, it's today that money is. It's crazy. It's absolutely bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. So I think educating yourself on the financial system, understanding where money even comes from. A lot of us are not educated. We haven't been educated in school. The school system will not educate you because they want to keep you dumb, and they want to siphon all of your energy, and not actually make it so you own your own time. That's kind of the point of the system, is to keep you running the rat race, living check to check forever, and giving all your creativity and all your energy to some soulless corporation that gives no flying fuck about you. That's why we're fed up, right? So that's the alternative. So you have to find a way out. You have to make a way out for yourself. And I think educating yourself on the monetary system will be a massive level up in your mind. You'd be like, oh, wait a second. Cash is printed out of thin air? World governments and central banks coordinate the money supply. They dictate how much money's in the supply, which dictates the costs of commodities, which dictates the cost of energy, which dictates the cost of housing. Interesting. Why is it that asset prices have gone up so aggressively, right? Why, like, you have to educate yourself. You absolutely have to get into the audiobooks, watch podcasts, whatever learning form that suits you. You need to educate, and then you need to start learning how to work online. I really think that working online, either that or work a blue collar job or something. Fuck school, forget about it. it's trash. School is dead. After the 80s, in my eyes, I think going to college, it's dead. Look, it's good to get an education, but not everyone is Lil Mabu with a dad who's worth $100 million, who can do whatever the fuck he wants, and like, yeah, I'm going to school and I'm a rapper. You can't look at stuff like that. Okay, for the majority of you people in school, 80-90% of you are going to come out with broke, in debt, and there's nothing you can do with your degree. That's the cold, hard, honest truth. That's the honest truth. You have to start learning about like entrepreneurship, hustling, getting creative, creating your own fucking lane, and being a risk taker. That's the, like, if you're under 30 and like you don't have a whole family, you don't have like a home, you don't have like a bunch of liabilities, you not taking a risk is equivalent to just killing yourself. I have no other words for it, because you are going to be so mad when you're 50. I see 50-year-olds who are still, working at Shoppers Drug Mart, at Starbucks, at the grocery stores. Do you want to be that guy, that 50-year-old guy at Walmart? Like, and I would go up to him and be like, hey, like, did you try to make a change here? And it's like, no. So you're just complacent? It's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get by for 50 years. What kind of life is that? Look, if I got to end up there, at least I know that I tried, and I can live with, like, God didn't have it in the cards for me. Like, I gave it my all. God didn't have it in the cards. That's okay. I can live with that. I don't need to live with regret. And the pain of regret, the weight of it, is so freaking heavy. It's going to torment you till you leave Earth, until your time comes. That's why it's like, for young people, you have to take some level of risk. I'm not saying YOLO all your money into crypto, but what I am saying is you need to go against the grain. You can't listen to your parents. Your parents have no idea how the economy actually works. Are your parents rich? So if you listen to them, you're going to end up like them. If your parent works a 9-to-5 soul-sucking crappy job that they're miserable about, then you're going to end up just like them. They don't know anything. They really have no clue. They were just doing the best they can with what they got, right? And God bless them. God bless their souls for birthing you and taking care of you. That is God's blessing. I'm not trying to throw shade on your parents, but what I'm saying is you have to take initiative, and you got to go and make a change out there. You need to go and start leveling up, okay? Learning new skills, educating yourself, upgrade your friend group. That alone will change your life. That's what changed mine. I learned new skills. I upgraded my friend groups. I took risk. I traveled a bunch. I've been to over, I want to say 6 countries, 20 cities across the world. I've been to South America. I've been to the Middle East. I've yet to go to Asia, but I've done a fair share of traveling, and I'm like a decade deep as a video editing service business. And it's going very good, man. It's blessed, and people look at me like I'm some wizard, but it's like I just put in the work in when no one was really paying attention to this stuff, and it paid off massive. So I don't want to see other, folks in my generation just turn into work slave zombies. And I think the sad reality is that a lot of these Gen Zers are going to come into crypto late. They're going to come in when Bitcoin's over 100 grand. They're going to come in when Ethereum's over $4,000, and they're going to think it's a get-rich-quick scheme. And they were not here early, and they weren't paying the the actual investing game of let time do its thing, delayed gratification. They're going to be coming for like a moonshot ticket to change their lives, especially after the pandemic ended. Everyone's going back to work and how much they hate it. And it's only going to hurt them more, because investing with a short-term mindset is basically like just burning all your money, and they're going to get destroyed. They just are. They're going to get dumped on so hard, especially if a lot of them are going to flock in 2025. It's not going to be good. It's shaping up to be an interesting bull run where we have Bitcoin halving, ETFs are coming. We have boomer money for the first time is going to actually start slipping into crypto slowly. Zoomers are fed up and they want a way out, which crypto is that advertises itself as a way out. A couple other factors as well, like Coinbase gaining dominance, regulatory clarity. Man, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the industry, and it's really shaping up to be a crazy bull run, I think, and going into the end of this year. So, yeah, guys, let me know what you think. What do you think is the solution for our generation? I really think education is the cornerstone, but I don't mean that in a very vague, stupid way to go get in debt to get educated. I just mean like literally watch YouTube, buy books, buy audibles, and just read on articles, read Twitter, like find the information sources. Maybe I should make a video for you guys about where I get all my information from. But I think that's the best place to start, because without education, you have no understanding. If you have no understanding, you can't take right action. So you have to get educated. So we'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.